Hi there guys. So after looking at multiple solutions for a dual battery setup in my Suzuki Jimny, I decided to go with a Jackery 500. I decided to go this route for a few reasons, and we'll talk about that in this video. I also decided to make this video simply because there was only a certain amount of information that really helped me in making the decision. The difficult part for me was knowing how the Jackery would perform on my particular fridge, which is a National Luna Legacy 50. It's a 39-11 liter combination, fridge freezer combination, and yeah, I had no idea how long the Jackery would be able to run it, how the charging on the Jackery would be, having both plugged into the vehicle, what would be the effect. So I have done one camping trip on it. I wasn't able to actually deplete the Jackery completely, so I thought let's start off by seeing how long the Jackery will run this fridge, and then after that I can show you guys how it's implemented in my vehicle and what charging is like and what charging options I am going to decide on using going forward. Alright, let's get started. Right, so we've got the National Luna Legacy 50. This has been pre-cooled. I've been running this for 24 hours on mains. I've got my temperature set. Freezer is on -3 degrees. Fridge is on 2 degrees. Just to show you guys the inside. So the larger compartment is 38 liters, 39 liters, and the smaller compartment 11. I've got some ice bricks in there just to simulate any frozen food, and I've got a couple of cans in there in the fridge department. However, there's not a lot, and I know with more food in it would probably be a bit more efficient. I've got the Jackery here. Jackery's charged up to 100%. Let's get the fridge going. Switching on the DC power. The fridge will be more efficient on DC. From what I understand, the Jackery uses a lot more power to get the inverter going, so this will be by far the most efficient way of getting it going. That's the current temperature. Looking at our current settings, freezer is on -3. We're going to leave that there. I've tested this temperature for ice cubes and any real, anything that you want properly freezed, and that's more than enough. And I've got the fridge side on 3 degrees. Alright, so let's see how we go. Fridge hasn't kicked in yet. We're only pulling 1 watt on the Jackery. Once it kicks in, we'll see how it goes. So the plan is also to open up the fridge every couple of hours, just to simulate, a proper camping trip where you might be taking things out. I've also got an external thermometer here just to show the ambient temperature. We are currently sitting at 16.7 degrees, and it is 7:31 on a Wednesday. So the fridge has just kicked in for the first time. It's only been 2 minutes. You can hear the compressor going, and you can also see by the indication lights that it's the freezer side that's now running its compressor. That should be coming down fairly quickly. Going to the Jackery, we are running at 34 watts to get this going. So when you pre-cool it, you do save a lot of energy, and that's something that one would always have to do to get the most out of the Jackery. It can take up to potentially 50-60 watts if this unit is really warm. You guys will also note that I'm using a fridge cover which has got a double layer for isolation. This is definitely going to make a difference as well. This particular one is made by Camp Cover, and it really does not only protect the unit but also insulates it quite well to keep in and keep out any hot temperatures. Right, compressor's running 31 watts, and we are at 7:35. It is now 8:48. Ambient temperature 18.1. We are roughly 1 hour in. Jackery is at 98%. Compressor is currently off. And the fridge is currently on 4 and -3. I have opened up the fridge once, just for around 10 seconds to simulate putting something in or taking something out. Going well so far. So we are reaching the 5-hour mark. Our ambient temperature has gone up to 22 degrees Celsius. The time currently 12:30. Fridge temperatures looking good. Jackery 92%. And the compressor is currently off. We are at 12 hours. Ambient temperature 21.4. Went up to 24 today, so not the hottest day, but I'm sure it's still a valid test. This will now be the last time that I'm going to open the fridge for the night. It will remain closed. Fridge temperature at the moment 5 -8. The compressor just kicked off not too long ago. And our Jackery is sitting at 79%. So that's 21% loss over 12 hours. Pretty impressive. Alright, we are 22 hours in. Ambient temperature 18.4, is now 5:54. Fridge is on normal temperatures as it should. And the Jackery is at 63%. Alright, we are at 23.1 degrees, 36 hours later. Definitely a hotter day than yesterday. Our ambient temperature went up to 25 today. Fridge currently on temperature. Compressors kicked in. Jackery 39%. It is Friday morning. We have lasted 48 hours on the Jackery. Ambient temperature 18.6. Fridge and the Jackery sitting on 19%. I was thinking of taking it down to 10%. I don't want to completely discharge the Jackery, so let's see how long it's going to last on the last 9%. So we have reached the 53-hour mark. Ambient temperature almost 24. Compressor just kicked out on the fridge side, which is why it's so cold. And the Jackery is now on 10%. I think this is where I'm going to stop the test. I'm going to switch off the Jackery, and then I'm going to move the fridge back into the vehicle just to show you guys what the charging is like. Okay guys, so we've got the Jackery and the fridge back in the vehicle. We are supplying the Jackery with 12 volt DC, and we are also giving the fridge the same DC power as before. Compressor is currently running, and we are currently charging at 81 watts and supplying the fridge with the necessary 33 watts. So in that way you are charging faster than you are using, which is great. I would normally put the Jackery on behind one of the seats, but I've just put it here for demonstrating the supply. Guys, that concludes the testing, and I think the results were pretty amazing. The first thing I needed to know was how long can I run the fridge off the Jackery. Personally, I think that more than 48 hours on any type of battery without any additional charge is amazing. In addition to that, while charging the Jackery, you can still run the fridge and still get more than half of the wattage into the Jackery, so that's pretty great. Bearing in mind that if the compressor's off, you get the full 80 plus watts. There's a couple of things here that I think play a big role in terms of you know, the time that you'll get on the Jackery with a fridge like this or any other fridge. Ambient temperature, I think, is very important. In my particular case, I'm putting it in my Suzuki Jimny, so the fridge is inside the car. That is a bit of a disadvantage because the compressor is giving off heat, especially while you're sleeping, and I tend to leave a window open just to get some type of an airflow in the vehicle. When you're driving, you've got the AC on, so you can really bring down the temperatures in the car, so that helps the fridge and the Jackery quite a bit. Second thing is, in terms of the charging, you know, if you're not driving, then you're not charging. So I'm definitely looking at the solar panel option. If I do an overland trip, we tend to continuously drive every day. So in that case, it's not really going to be a big issue. I'm pretty sure that with a couple of days of driving, if the battery is fairly low, I should be able to get it back up. This is definitely not the perfect solution for every type of setup. I feel that the traditional dual battery setup also has its advantages, but in my particular case of the smaller vehicle, this really does help a lot. In terms of cooling, I think the pre-cooling temperatures is also an absolute must. You need to try and get the fridge temperatures as low as possible before plugging in the Jackery. So my advice would be at least 24 hours, run it on the AC, try and get as much food and ice and frozen food in there as you possibly can and want, and only then, once you go on your trip, you plug in the Jackery, and then you'll definitely get the best result. That concludes my video. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and like and subscribe. See you on the next one.